Watching movies and dying inside. Watching movies and dying inside.
Hi there, gang, and welcome back to Watching Movies and Dyin Inside. It's time again for another double feature, and today we're going to be looking at 1982's Trail of the Pink Panther and 1983's Curse of the Pink Panther, both directed by Blake Edwards. So these are the 6th and 7th installments in the original Pink Panther film series. As to why I'm not covering the first 5, which starred Peter Sellers, that's because I've seen them already. My father was a big fan of those movies, so I watched them when I was a kid and still remember them well enough. As for the 6th and 7th films, they didn't include them in whatever box set my dad had. I haven't heard great things about these, mostly because they're pieced together from unused footage from the other films, or in the case of Curse of the Pink Panther, kind of beating a dead horse. So this is probably the start of watching all of the non-Peter Sellers starring Pink Panther films, which would take us to Son of the Pink Panther and then the Steve Martin reboot films. But for the time being, we're going to start with Trail of the Pink Panther. I hope it makes sense. So let's dive on in and hope for the best.
Watching movies and dying inside.
Also, before anyone says anything, I'm aware that there was a 1968 Inspector Clouseau film with Alan Arkin, but, it wasn't directed by Blake Edwards, so, I mean, I might get to it at a point, but I'm just going to focus on the Blake Edwards movies and the Steve Martin remakes.
Commissioner, I commend your promptness.
Thank you.
You have heard of the theft in Lugash?
The Pink Panther. Yes, of course. It is in all the papers. Soon I imagine they will...
Okay, I saw the movies like a while ago, but I remember Dreyfus lost it because of Clouseau's bumbling, and he was institutionalized, and then he vaporized himself when he became like a full-on villain. It's weird he's back and that they're not really acknowledging it. This is like the first funny joke in the entire film so far. Just the fact that he accidentally started a fire and everything he does to stop it just makes it worse. It's a silly joke, but,
You are supposed to suppose and give me all the answers. Look, the commissioner wants...
Wait, what's even the plot of this movie? I think the Pink Panther gem has been stolen, but so far we had Clouseau getting disguises, accidentally setting a fire, and now we're watching Dreyfus get therapy?
Yes. Someone should have, could have done that.
He wired Scotland Yard and said he was arriving in disguise.
Disguise?
So, I can't help but note, there was a scene of Clouseau bringing groceries home, and then a scene where the two guys explained what he was up to, and then a scene of him in the car, and then another scene of these two guys. I get that, they didn't have a whole lot of footage to build a narrative around, but, this is what I kind of suspected they would be doing, cutting to random scenes of him doing something, and then having people say, like, oh, he's after him now. Something like that.
Yes, this is Chief Inspector Clouseau. Turn your bed down, sir.
The plot in this movie is like tissue thin. So far, the Pink Panther jewel was stolen. They suspected it was, I want to say, David Niven's character from the first film. And then Clouseau went to London to find him, but he's in France. And that's 40 minutes.
So,
Yes, I'm trying.
you don't want to end up at Happy Acres again?
No, but you see, Doctor.
Oh. Was that? Okay, so they acknowledged he was institutionalized. That whole supervillain, phase, they're just going to ignore that.
I have a terrible news for you.
Huh?
Inspector Clouseau's plane is missing.
You are sure?
Yes, positive. I'm sorry.
I'll be right there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so now Clouseau, after getting knocked out a window a few times, got on a flight off screen, and now also off screen, the flight has gone missing. So I guess that's one way to, keep him off screen for a little while.
Courageous?
Courageous. Oh, courageous.
This movie is not interesting, but I don't know if I'm bored. I'm just kind of like, it's just very strange to watch.
You worked with Clouseau.
Yes, he was unique.
Intuitive, a man who followed his hunches.
At least the other footage and kind of the loose way of stringing it together, there was a narrative progression. This is just people talking about Clouseau now, and it's...
But of course he was wrong.
About what?
About you being the Phantom.
Of course, he was wrong.
Wrong, but persistent.
Persistent he was. You see, he was convinced that I...
So I do know that David Niven's voice was dubbed over by Rich Little, and you can kind of hear that the audio quality of his voice sounds a little different. Rich Little, in case you don't know, is an impressionist. I guess he did a pretty good David Niven. I think he also impersonated Johnny Carson, I think. And presumably a lot of other people who are now dead. Okay, you know what? I think this movie's killing me. It's a clip show now. I guess it's kind of fun seeing all these characters come back, but they really could have constructed a better narrative.
Well, the two men in that car suggested I drop you off at another address.
What are you talking about?
Actually, it was more like a threat than a suggestion.
They threatened you?
Well, one of them showed me his brand new gun.
But who are they?
But I know you'll think I'm not on the ball, but I neglected to get their names.
That guy playing the cab driver, he really made the most out of that role. Okay, so I guess there's naked women stomping on grapes. In case I haven't made it clear so far, this movie is really boring.
Here's the report. I will apprehend this culprit within 24 hours.
Harvey Korman as Professor Balls. Sure. Whatever happened to that whole like the Lugosh and the Pink Panther diamond being stolen? That was the plot for the first half of the movie. But yeah, they never really resolved that. So, this was not really great or interesting for the first half, but I found it legitimately fascinating how they took the footage of Peter Sellers and worked around it to create a narrative with a plot involving the Pink Panther. It was a thin plot, but it was kind of interesting. I mean, there were points where it was a lot of like scenes of him and then people talking about stuff that was going on. You know, like, oh, he's going to go there now, or he's doing this. In the second half, it just became like, okay, let's talk to this character from the series, let's talk to this character, let's meet Clouseau's father. It just became like really dull and repetitive. The plot completely, I mean, there was barely a plot, but then there was no plot. This wasn't a movie. This was kind of a Frankenstein mess. So I guess we're going to move on to Curse of the Pink Panther. Is it going to be better? I hope so. So I'm assuming Curse of the Pink Panther picks up on a lot of the stuff from Trail that they never really resolved.
Enough.
What?
I am Clouseau, and justice will be done in the name of the law.
Wait, what? Okay. So now I'm confused. There was the whole thing about the country of Lugash and the Pink Panther jewel and then Clouseau seemingly dying in a plane crash off screen. But was that him? I guess.
1 year ago today, Inspector Jacques Clouseau, the police academy's most illustrious graduate, disappeared. We felt it appropriate to broadcast this commemorative program from the academy.
It is kind of funny that Clouseau is commemorated as France's greatest police detective. You know, all they really saw were the results and not, you know, all the bumbling and kind of falling into good luck and everything. So it's kind of funny.
Oh, no. We are just trying to find the best, the most qualified.
The most like Clouseau.
Yes.
I'm wondering, why wasn't this just one movie? Like, they really could have gotten rid of the clip show in the back half of Trail of the Pink Panther and had Clouseau vanish in the first act instead of halfway through the movie. I guess they were probably thinking of Trail of the Pink Panther as a tribute to Peter Sellers by using the unused footage and having, of course, the clip show thing. Maybe good as a tribute, but not much of a movie.
Simply mystifies me. Tell me, why should it be? You have the power to hypnotize me.
So this is Clouseau's replacement, Clifton Slay, a New York City police officer who is currently undercover, kind of a ridiculous getup, doing an unconvincing voice. I thought it was just like a sight gag, but this scene has been going on for like 5 minutes.
Hey, business is booming since Clouseau disappeared, huh?
Yeah, my books show an increase of 18% since February.
Gambling accounted for $500 million, nearly double last year.
You think that's good?
Why are they saying that Clouseau disappeared? Wasn't it a plane crash? Shouldn't they just assume he's dead? It's weird that they're just treating it like he might come back. I mean, we know he's alive, apparently. But why do they think that?
Detective Sergeant Clifton Slay.
Okay. Yeah, that was pretty funny. And
for a few weeks, but he's very lucky. We just got him in time. He could have choked to death.
Oh my God. Okay, that's a pretty good gag. I'll give him that. Having all these references to the other films and the museum with the wax sculptures and everything works a lot better as a tribute to the Peter Sellers films than all of the clips in the last film.
Oh, God! Oh, God!
There's a story reason for why you have all these things, so it kind of keeps the narrative going without just kind of going off on an extraneous tangent.
3,000, including the leash and 2 extra cans of caca. How about 1,500 for the entire ensemble and all the caca? I've got to get this stuff off my hands.
This isn't funny. Why are these guys trying to kill Clifton Slay again? Is it because he's like investigating Clouseau and they don't want him to find him? Or... yeah, that's probably it. Those extras are laughing really hard at that shtick. That bellhop looks really uncomfortable. That's pretty funny. This is better than Trail of the Pink Panther. That much is clear. But it's still not a very good movie. The set pieces just go on way too long. A lot of the gags are just miserably unfunny. Also, this movie is like 1 hour and 50 minutes, which is really long for a comedy.
Don't worry about a thing. I got these guys just where I want them.
He hasn't shown up yet. He just went into the hotel. I'll be there. 10 minutes.
Good.
Hey, what was the deal with Inspector Clouseau showing up at the beginning of the film? I guess he had plastic surgery or something because... I don't know what's going on with that.
What Julie does in her own time is her own.
My God!
Yes, I knew that.
You!
Yes, it is me. I'm just checking the bar for the...
Are you all right?
Yes, of course I'm all right.
So, Inspector Clouseau survived the plane crash, met up with the Countess, had plastic surgery, and now looks like Roger Moore.
Stuck it?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's stuck.
That's what it is.
So, now in the final minutes of the film, we have Roger Moore doing an impression of Inspector Clouseau, which is actually hilarious.
Did that swine architect of yours move that door by any chance?
So that was Curse of the Pink Panther. Trail of the Pink Panther was a necessary film to get to this point, in as much as it explained why Clouseau disappeared, why they thought he was dead, why they were looking for him. But really, like I said, you could have condensed that into the first act of this film. This was a much better film. Unfortunately, it was way too long. It's a film that wanted a involved plot without really kind of bothering to explain everything or resolve everything. It was fine. I mean, maybe I'm saying that partly in response to Trail of the Pink Panther. Would I recommend this? If you're a fan of the Pink Panther movies, this is kind of the end of the Peter Sellers era. There was Son of the Pink Panther, which came after, but that era when they were making these movies on a semi-regular basis, this is kind of that concluding chapter. But in any case, I wasn't dying inside, but not really sure I'd recommend it necessarily.